Good afternoon, and welcome to the Matrix, folks. It's your world. We're just living in it. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And we got New York sports talk. We got Mets, a major collapse. We got the New York Giants throwing darts. We got the Yankees Red Sox matchup. And then tonight, just end the season. We got Jets, Phins, NFL, wall to wall. This is New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go! What's going on, Mike? Are we okay is the first question.
No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay at all. This is something that I've been trained to deal with as a Mets fan in my life. I've been given the ability to deal with hatred and torture and hostile level type stuff. And somehow, some way, they found a way to top some of the worst feelings I've ever had as a Mets fan. And this is going to take a little bit.
You sound like the guy. You ever seen that meme where he's like, "In my heart, I still love you." And
the wrestling guy.
Yeah. That's what the insides feel like today. And also, guys, I'm a Yankee fan. Obviously, you can tell. New York Minute Sports. I do the Yankees post game every night, which I was getting lambasto in the fucking comment section from Rays, Jays, and Mets and Plains last night. But as far as you're concerned, Mike, I checked in on Mike. I like to send Mike like when a Honda courtesy car comes to you, I like to give a courtesy call. Just to let you know you're coming up on your oil change. Mike, I just want to see if you have a barrel of a gun in your mouth. I want to see if you pulled your car into the driveway, left it on, and closed the door behind you. Also, my other friend that called today just to check in on him. So, where did it go wrong? Who's to blame?
I think when you have a season like the Mets just had, and it's still fresh, so it's going to be raw. When you had a season like the Mets just had, I think the blame goes everywhere. It starts from the top and it makes its way down. I don't put the blame on Cohen because I think Cohen did his part in spending the money. He's given the Mets the biggest payroll in baseball. It's on David Stearns. It trends down to Mendoza, and then it obviously falls on the players after that. A lot of bad moves were made. The deadline at the time was something that we all thought was going to be a pretty good deadline. You got Soto, you got Helsley, you got Rod, you got all these guys with pretty good track records. Maybe not Soto so much, but none of the moves that he made worked out, and it was just a horrendous deadline, and it just trickled into the shit sandwich that was starting from mid-June, and it went all the way through, and everybody's to blame here for
Mike,
what took place.
What happened? In the beginning of the season, you guys were one of the best teams in baseball, and the Mets, and I definitely thought the World Series was definitely in their future. And all I heard was about this pitching lab that the New York Mets had, and how Stearns was going to reinvent baseball, and he was going to do all this shit. What happened to the pitching lab? Because it seems like the pitching lab works in preseason, works in spring training, because they were able to get Canning. They were able to get good innings out of him. They were able to get innings out of Clay Holmes, who was a converted closer from us. By the way, I came to an epiphany last night. Devin Williams traded souls with Clay Holmes. Juan Soto traded souls with Trent Grisham this year. So they all switched, they all flip-flopped, and there should be a lot of sage going on in Citi Field and Yankee Stadium. So they were doing the pitching lab, then the starting pitching starts falling apart. We talking about locker room here. Do you think, as a Met fan, Mike, do you think something's going to come up after the fact that it was a locker room issue? Do you think that it's going to come up with a chemistry issue that the Mets have?
I don't know. Even though, there's been reports, if you remember, like Tommy Pham had a report a couple years ago when the Mets traded him, that Francisco Lindor seemed to be like the only guy on the Mets that took extra hitting, extra batting. He only kind of was the only one that took things seriously. Everything else was kind of laissez-faire. Guys were kind of just messing around more than anything. everybody kind of brushed that report out of the way because it was coming from Tommy Pham. Maybe there's some truth to that. And this is pre-Soto. So, and again, like anybody will agree, I don't need these guys to love each other. I don't give a crap if they hang out after the game, during the game with their mother, father in Soto's suite. They don't need to hang out anywhere. Just get on the field and do your jobs. And it just seemed like chemistry or not, chemistry could only take you so far. And this team just didn't have. I don't think there'll be anything that comes out of guys hating each other or anything like that.
All right. Well, let's see what your owner, Steve, had to say. We are all feeling the raw emotions today. I know how much time and effort you have put into this team. The result was unacceptable. Your emotions tell me how much you care and continues to motivate the organization to do better. Thank you to the best fans in the sport. Mets fans everywhere, I owe you an apology. You did your part by showing up and supporting the team. We did do our part. We didn't do our part. We will do the post-mortem and figure out the obvious and less obvious reasons why the team didn't perform up to your expectations. So it looks like even Steve Cohen scratching his head. And the first person that comes to mind is your head coach. Now, this is where an Aaron Boone problem comes in. Who's setting the lineups? Now, the New York Mets, they didn't score a single run. I think it was 56 times, 0-56 this year, when being down after the 8th inning.
0-70.
What? 0-70?
0-70, trailing after the 8th inning this year. They didn't win a single game.
So that just strictly falls on the players then.
I mean, and it goes back to, I mean, those obvious stats could be a little flawed, because if you're down 7-0 after the 8th inning, it's going to be tough to come back. But there was a lot of 1 and 2 run games that they just didn't even get on base in the 9th inning and just went down flailing. It's less to do with Mendoza. I'm perfectly fine with Stearns and Mendoza coming back. I think that they're perfectly fine. I think Stearns got this farm system up to number 1 in baseball, and that means something. It's just that maybe it's more on the players than a lot of people want to admit. But the easiest guys to get rid of is starting with Mendoza, but I'm not ready to do that just yet.
All right, you see your screen?
I see Pete with the eye black, and it looks like a checkbook.
Let's talk about him.
There he is.
There he is.
The polar bear.
Pete did not waste any fucking time saying that he's going to be a free agent. Came right out and said it. He's going to opt out, and rightfully so, because if you remember the beginning of last year, that Pete Alonso, he was like, the Mets were like, go out and test the market. We'll see what you get, Pete. And Pete kind of had to put his tail between his legs. And you remember he was one of the last free agent acquisitions that the Mets had made in the offseason. And then Pete Alonso, back on the New York Mets, he comes out and has an MVP caliber first 3 months of the season. Then, just like the Mets, he starts to dwindle down a little bit. Then Juan Soto starts to pick up where he left off. The New York Mets, is Pete Alonso on this team next year?
No, I don't think he is. And it's very fitting.
I think he's a Boston Red Sox or a Chicago Cub.
It's fitting if you look at that photo that Soto's right behind them in that. It's perfect for the people that think about
Soto
the chemistry.
wants him back, though. Soto doesn't want to see him leave. He was excellent protection for Soto this year.
And I'll say this because a lot of people kind of twist, as you know, being on the internet now, a lot of people like to twist your words when you give your opinion on things. Like you could say, I want this, and then somebody say, well, you said this. I want Pete Alonso back on the Mets. I'm just going to get that out there. I want Pete Alonso back on the Mets. I don't want Pete Alonso for $30+ million a year for 5 or 6 years. And then I don't want to hear Mets fans bitching and moaning that they're penny pinching in other areas because we're investing so much money into 2 or 3 specific players.
But I don't get it. I don't get it, dude. Either I'm sorry to interrupt, but if it's either the Mets got to shit or get off the pot. Either you just spend money, right? Or because it's like you guys signed Juan Soto, and then you didn't spend any money on pitching. It's like you guys hit last year. That wasn't your biggest concern. What this came down to, It was a power move from your owner, Steve Cohen, who wanted to send a message to the New York Yankees, and rightfully so, that hey, we're at the big boy table now. We're a legit franchise. We got $340 million payroll, whatever you guys got. But what I don't understand is, dude, you go fucking penny pinching for one of the most important positions in all of baseball,
in first
starting
base.
pitching.
Oh, pitching. Well, he did spend $17 million on Montas, so they didn't.
Bro,
They just,
don't even that guy. I don't even know how you could even stomach looking at that guy after what he's did to both of our teams now.
thankfully, I don't have to. He'll be out for hopefully a speedy recovery for his next team, like the Cincinnati Reds, in 2 years or 3 because of the lockout. But again, I want Pete back. I want him back, and this team can get. There is a way though that a lot of Mets fans are going to be sentimental and panic, and there's a way to build a winning ball club. And I'm speaking to a person as a fan of a team that just did it this season. There's a way to lose all the statistics that Pete Alonso just put up and build a better team around whatever you want to do around the diamond. And again, I want Alonso back. I've said it a million times. But if Pete Alonso and especially that douche Scott Boras want to play hardball and say, nah, we're not coming back for less than 32, 33, 34, then let him go test the market. Now, his market was bad last year.
Pete will get it. Somebody will overpay for Pete Alonso. And I think it might be now the Blue Jays are out. So I think he's going to go to the AL East. I think the Red Sox could use a first baseman. And also, I could see him being a Chicago Cub. I've been hearing that for years, just like your boy Russell Wilson was supposed to be the quarterback for the Giants, Miss Unlimited, for years. Pete Alonso's been talking about the Chicago Cubs for years, so I think that will eventually happen. Also, me and my dad were talking about this yesterday. My dad turns to me and goes, I think that Alonso guy's a knucklehead. You know, it's like he goes, you see the way that he just conducts himself? He's like, I just get major douchebag vibes from that guy. And it is kind of true. I'm like, I told my dad, I was like, he's just like a gym all-star. Remember like the douchebag that we used to hang out in the gymnasium all day in high school? And it's like, what are you guys doing? Had like 2 friends, thought he was Mr. Cool, and it was not cool. All right. Soto, did you see his interview after the Mets game yesterday?
Yeah.
Really chilly, huh?
Calm, cool, collected.
Yeah. It's so funny. They all start getting, whenever the paycheck comes around, Juan Soto's like, can you please deposit that into my checking account? And then when he's asked about a regular season collapse, he's like, excuse me, I don't know. It's just baseball. It's okay. It's just baseball. So if you did not make the playoffs this year, do you think the Juan Soto acquisition was worth it then?
Of course, yeah, because it's 50. It's going to be 15 years of Juan Soto and building around him now as the part of the new nucleus of the Mets. He is 26 years old. According to a lot of people, he's not, but he is 26 years old. So you're going to start to build moving forward around him more so than a guy like Pete, or more so than the other guys that have been on this team for 6-7 years, a part of that core that I keep talking about that needs to be broken up immediately.
Yeah, you saw Juan Soto yesterday, and he was not a happy camper, especially after the experience that he had last year going to the World Series. And the New York Mets really, really need scientists to examine this in a lab somewhere, why the New York Mets are allergic to making back-to-back playoffs.
It's insane. It's like
insane. This might be, and I don't mean to harp on this shit. And when I do this isn't a place for the people listening. This isn't from a place of malice. I'm not a Met hater for a Yankees. My grandfather literally ran the phone for the Jets and the Mets since its inception at Shea Stadium. So I have a lot of family members that are Met fans, and I do love the Mets in that kind of way. I hope they die like dogs on a regular basis. And in full disclosure, I was not upset that they lost yesterday after all the dog shit talk that I heard last year after they acquired Soto from us. And all I heard was Met fans drone on about how they were going to make it to the World Series, how we got our asses kicked by the Dodgers, how we lost out, and now this is a Met town. This is to the Met fans. This isn't a mic right now. Guys, just pump the brakes a little bit. You got Juan Soto now. That was a monumental move for your franchise that sets you apart. Yes, that brings you into the neighborhood of the Dodgers, Yankees. Welcome to the league, guys. Now the Mets can build on it. I think you really got to examine your head coach. You really got to examine that general manager of yours because this team collapsed under your head coach. They were one of the best teams in baseball. And overnight, dude, it was like somebody flipped a switch and this team went to dog shit. I know the injuries and the starting pitching and stuff like that, but when you're not scoring any runs, you just said it 70 times after the eighth inning. That's not starting pitching, and that's what Juan Soto was saying after the game. You know, a lot of people got hurt starting rotation, you know. It's like, yeah, but Juan, you were there. You were playing in the games. You were in the eighth inning afterwards. So I guess he needs to do a little soul searching. He's never been the guy on the team, Mike.
Soto.
You know what I'm saying? And Pedro Martinez was talking about his leadership on MLB the other day. I just did a video on it. And he didn't mention Soto by name, but he goes, you know, where's the leadership on the Mets? So my question to you is, who is the leader on the Mets?
My default answer is Lindor, but it's tough because, I mean, there's a lot of people that wanted to run Lindor out of here before last year's postseason, you know, before last year's MVP run. So it's not everybody's in it. Same thing with Pete. If Pete doesn't hit that home run in Milwaukee last year, everybody was ready to run him out of here. So I don't think that we
off a low-lev dev.
Yeah, I don't think we have that true get in your face, pick it the F up type guy that's going to say, what the hell are we doing? And point out the faults of everybody else. That should fall on the manager. But then the manager can only do so much because after every single game, when you're hearing the same things, you're just not going to retain that information anymore. You need a fiery type guy that's going to come in here. And it doesn't need to be a guy making $50 million, as much as we all want it to be Soto. It could be a guy that you bring in who's making 10 or 15 that just gets in your face and says, you're better than this. You need to do better than this, so on and so forth.
What I think is that Pete Alonso tried to be that guy, and it didn't stick. You know, listen, man, I played athletics my whole life. I played in college, and it's like in a locker room, if there's a guy that's not liked who thinks that he is liked a lot more than he is, people will talk behind his back. And if you look at the guys that are around, he's kind of the odd man out. You have Acuna, you got Soto, you got Minaya. All these guys are Latino players. You got a Latino manager, head coach. The vibe is completely different in the Mets dugout since when Pete Alonso first joined this team and broke the rookie home run record. So listen, the New York Mets obviously going to have to do a little bit of soul searching. What stage of grief are you on right now?
Right now,
have you got to angry yet?
Oh, no, I'm not angry. I haven't been. This team really hasn't made me angry since mid-August. I think mid-August was the last time I actually yelled or got mad at this team because I started after a certain amount of time. You just got to come to the realization this isn't like a bad 2-3 week stretch. This was a mid-June all the way through September horrendous stretch that they played bottom 3, bottom 4 record-wise baseball. So it was. It wasn't like an 07 collapse where you're pissed off at. This was like a 4-month stretch.
Hey, Mike, I gotta share something with you. I think we just had a breakthrough here.
We did.
Yeah, we just did. Hold on, I gotta share something with you. Let me see. Let's share this screen right here, guys. I do all my own stunts. So this is for Mike. Okay, this is the stages of grief. Okay, now. Well, the crazy thing about it, Mike, and this is breaking news right here on New York Minute Sports. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. This is what we bring you here. Mike's going through the griefing process in reverse. Listen to this. Mike's already accepted the fact 2 months ago that the Mets were out, okay? Now he's going to go into depression, okay? Mark my words. I'm checking in on him tomorrow. Hopefully everything's okay, okay? And also, Tell your wife, hide your car keys, no garage for Mike, okay? Then bargaining, I could see you being like, well, maybe if we trade Soto, we can get like Paul Skeens or something like that, right? Then they don't do any of that, and you still have Mendoza. Then you go straight to anger. What do you think?
No, yeah, this is exact. I'm in acceptance right now, so we're hitting reverse. I'll be
I
the
like this.
depression will come.
This is kind of like this is a very nice kind of therapy sesh for Mike. And by the way, you guys can catch Mike on his Instagram channel. That's Pudgy Boy Sports with a Z on Instagram. Pudgy Boy Sports with a Z. He's my Mets guy. He's my Mets guy, and he's my go-to Knicks guy. So if you guys want good takes on all that shit, go right over there and check it out. Now, you might be a little happy about the Giants' performance yesterday, and their huge, as far as I'm concerned, huge upset of the Los Angeles Chargers. Mike, take it away. How are we feeling about the game yesterday?
Feeling good, but like anything in my sports life now, I can't have one decent good thing with the Malik Neighbors injury. It's crushing. It's terrible. But more importantly, the quarterback is the most important part of your franchise. So to see the young quarterback finally get a win for this team, and seeing the way Brian Dable acted after the game, like basically tonguing him down and doing what he had to do afterwards, this was such a great moment for the New York Giants and their fans, despite the obvious injury that's going to keep Neighbors out for the year.
My question is, Jameis Winston still think Dart is a female, by the way? I was looking, yeah, that whole thing. Now, a lot of the people were asking the fact that, yeah, they didn't go to Jameis. They went right to Dart, because I think that's what that comes down to, is the fact that Dable is coaching for his life. Dable looks desperate on the sidelines, Mike.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the way after the game, the way I understand getting excited over a game and stuff, but he grabbed Dart by the neck and was like, it was like this close.
He needs a friend, okay? Because oh, by the way, did you hear that the Giants organization separated the head coach and general manager like they were two best friends in English class? Did you hear about this?
No.
They're no longer allowed to work in tandem with each other. They're working separately.
Maybe it's better off.
Well, I don't know what it is, but obviously they got it right with Dart. Who was responsible for drafting Jackson Dart?
According to all the reports, it was Brian Dable. This is the guy that he pinpointed. This is the guy. The report, obviously, you got to believe whatever reports are out there for the most part. Shador Sanders was the guy that Joe Shane was very high on, and Dable just kept pounding the table on Jackson Dart and what he could do with him. And I mean, if that's the case, judging by the way Dart looked in Game 1 or the preseason or even training camp, you gotta give Brian Dable credit if this is the pick that turns out to be the next one.
Well, he looked more athletic right off the bat. He looked good yesterday. He really did. What are some of the things that he's going to bring to the table that you can see right off the bat that, like, just because, listen, man, you've had franchise quarterbacks on the New York Giants before. As a Jet fan, as you can see, just enjoy the suffering. And playing on Monday night tonight, we'll get to that. But as a Giant fan, you've actually seen some good quarterback play in your life. Where does this guy, like, when you saw Eli come in, right? You getting the same vibes? Are you getting the same?
Yeah, I'm getting the same excitement. Although if you remember Daniel Jones's first start, it was tremendous as well. But the trait that people have to look at traits of a quarterback instead of the actual results, because some of the traits that you see with Jackson Dart is keeping the eyes downfield, which is absolutely huge, especially for a rookie quarterback. He doesn't duck. He doesn't panic. He just throws the ball over the middle of the field with a lot of confidence. He has a lot of confidence. You see it out there. He's going to be able to utilize his legs a lot, especially in the RPO with this offense. He's got to learn how to slide. That's probably my biggest problem with him, because he's going to get himself hurt. And it happened again yesterday when he tried to get some guy down on the field and he came up and the refs took him out to get evaluated for a concussion. Can't be coming out of the game when you could prevent all those things yourself. But you see the moxie, you see the swagger, something that this franchise has been lacking for God knows how long. but he does have the traits in a quarterback that you want.
You know what I think plays into that sliding is the terrible turf at MetLife.
I can't stand it.
Is that it's tough to dive into that the real turf that they have on that field. With the amount of money that goes into that revenue into that building, and they're going to have natural grass for the World Cup. How does this place not have regular grass? We did when they initially made the stadium. What is it? Is it just them being cheap? Is it not feasible? What is it?
The last thing that I heard was that for them to be able to maintain it would be too much, and I just don't understand, because it's not one team that plays there, it's two, but that should also make it a lot easier to spend the money on it.
The amount of fucking money they make at MetLife between the concerts, between Giants, between Monster Jam, okay, all the shit that goes into it. Truckosaurus at MetLife, $1,000 for a car to park. They make plenty of money. They can grow grass on a slab of concrete.
And I saw the list yesterday of the people that got hurt. And it's not coincidence. It's just, I just don't even want this to affect in the future. Let's say, what if the Jets want to bring in some sort of player, or the Giants want to bring in a player, and they're like, you know what, the money's kind of similar, but that turf, man, I don't know about it. It's little things like that are just going to affect both of these teams. And it's just so insane to me.
Well, it's also the tax code in New York. Hey, why do you think LeBron made the decision? That was a tax break, bro. You know what? He goes, he signs the biggest contract of his life, and he goes where there's no income tax. Yeah. Why don't you come up, play New York, get your balls busted by the media, have the fans ask for your head every other day, and then give me 65% of your money. The only reason guys come here is because of the media. You get that, you'll make up that 65% of that tax bracket with endorsement deals, with the fringe stuff that you get from being in New York. Look at Anthony Volpe. He's already doing suits, and I think he's a half inch shorter than me, and I'm not winning any height contests anytime soon. So your Giants looking good. Dable saved. All is good. Neighbors tears his shit, so you're not feeling so good. The Giants defense played very well yesterday. Thibodeau, my boy. I don't know why I like this guy so much. Maybe because he looks like an orc from Lord of the Rings 2 when he puts on his uniform. Because he looks like he has the white hand of Sauron on his back, the way that man runs around the field. And the Giants defense finally looked like themselves yesterday. So that is promising. So the Giants are trending in the right direction. Now, the New York Jets play football, or what they're going to call it football. They play football tonight. Now, I've been completely demoralized, Mike. I don't like football right now, and it's very hard for me to even fathom watching it.
Surprising. We got the Dolphins tonight. What version of that Dolphins are you going to be getting tonight?
We're probably going to get the one that scores 36 points. Because, all right, first of all, let's get down to business. Breece Hall, I want him gone. This needs to be a full fire sale, and you know that your organization is fucked when you go to play Madden, a video game, and there's no hope on the video game. I tried to recreate the Jets. This is going to take about 3 or 4 years of a project of turning this thing around. First of all, we don't have the quarterback that we need in-house. Justin Fields is not the fucking answer. I'm telling you right now. The only reason Justin Fields was good is because the first game, all of those plays that he ran were rehearsed. Okay? They had 4 weeks to plan for that game. Now you got guys like Breece Hall who are still playing for the New York Jets, who I think just aren't winning players, okay? This is the toilet bowl tonight down in Miami, and the New York Jets, I really think they're going to get smoked. Because the New York Jets have shown no signs of life. That last loss that they had against the Buccaneers, every time they come back, It shouldn't get to that, and they're causing the same problems as last year. So my question to you, Mike, as an outside source, what do you think about the Jets and Dolphins game tonight?
The encouraging sign for the Dolphins, I guess, is the way that they played Buffalo last week, when a lot of people thought that they were going to get blown out. The Jets are leaving. The Jets still have the same problems when I'm watching them, like you said, every year. Like, this coach came in and said, we're cleaning up the mistakes, we're cleaning up the penalties, we're cleaning up all this stuff. And then, but now again, they cut Gibson after the fumble. Okay, that's fine. That's a good step.
Yep.
But then a lot of Jet fans I hear complain about Michael Clemens still being on the team, and he's making mistake after mistake.
Thing is like bigger culprit than Gibson. Clemens is the worst culprit on this team, and then he keeps him. So that's why it's like, it looks like Glenn's a little bit out of his depth already, because he's talking out of both sides of his mouth already, and you can see like he gives me Cash Patel vibes, bro. He gets those, he gets eyes like doll's eyes where there's no life in those eyes, and he gets up to the podium and he just starts talking, and it's like, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Because they're not making any sense, Glenn. He talks in bumper stickers, and he better change that tonight, because McDaniels looks like he's back to drinking. I told you that already. I smell a rat with that dude, and something's going on with him. So if Glenn can't win tonight against an inebriated head coach, just end the season. Just don't endure the season.
And they gotta beat. You got a coach that's ready to be fired in Miami. So you gotta take advantage of this if you're the Jets, and just somehow, some way, get the ball into the damn end zone. And Fields has to look like he just knows what the hell he's doing out there.
They have no wide receivers, Mike. Okay? They're going to be a run-first team, and then they don't fucking run the ball, okay? Yeah. They're a run-first team. We're going to bite off kneecaps, all that business, right? We're the Detroit Lions 2.0, Sonic Knuckles and Hedgehog, whatever you want to call it. And then we don't run the fucking ball, okay? We throw it with Tyrod Taylor about 30 times, who should be in an old folks' home collecting AARP and should have duct tape around his spinal cord, okay? So now we got Justin Fields, who was concussed. So that should really help his performance tonight. That should really make him really a lot better than his first game that he had, that they lost also. So they're not the same old Jets, but they're doing the same exact thing. So I don't know what to say. But did you catch? I don't know if you are. I'm going to assume here. Are you a golf fan or not a golf fan?
A little bit, yeah.
That's not a golf fan. So he's not a golf fan. Perfect. So we'll go Ryder Cup, okay? The reason I'm bringing this up, the Ryder Cup was in Bethpage. Dude, did you see how the crowd was acting?
No, I saw that. I saw a clip of Scheffler and his wife or something. They got beer thrown at him or something like that.
No. It was Rory McIlroy.
Oh, McIlroy.
Rory McIlroy they're throwing beers at his wife. They're cursing at him to the point where Rory McIlroy is like, "Yo, shut the up." He literally turns around before he's about to swing, and he goes, "Shut the fuck." So the point I'm bringing up is, this is New York Minute Sports. We're all New York nuts here. I get it. But don't be an asshole. There's a difference between being a nut, a sports nut, and being a fanatic and cheering for your team. Going to a sport event to yell at another player like it's personal or like this dude is just an asshole move. Just all stop, period blank, asshole move. First of all, you're supposed to have some decorum in golf. All right? It's supposed to be a gentleman's game. Like, golf is supposed to teach you rules, etiquette, respect your opponent. It's supposed to be silent. It's supposed to be quiet. It's supposed to be one with nature. It's supposed to be all that shit, right? And then when the U.S. Open came here in Bethpage back in '98, it was like Happy Gilmore. And it was cool because it was an organic grassroots thing where these New Yorkers were watching golf and the players were like, man, who are these crazy people? It's like, well, we're just New Yorkers and we're nuts and that's crazy. So what the point is I'm trying to make is it's like the ugly Christmas sweater party. It was cool when it was organic, Mike. Now it's a thing. Everybody has an ugly sweater party at the corporate party. Everybody does it, right? So now everybody thinks they have to act like a complete asshole when they go to Bethpage to see golf. And not to mention, when you throw a beer at somebody's wife, what's going through your mind, bro? Like, this is golf we're talking about. It's not like the Yankees and Mets where it's a lot more heated. This is a Irish golfer. How much could you really hate this dude, So I don't know. It's just like I'm getting tired of the only fans that can get away with that pompous shit is the Knicks fans because they have some kind of charm to them, in their fouled up way of, they're wearing Timbs and jeans. And it's like they'll tell you to go tell you the worst thing on earth, but then they'll do it with a wink and a smile, and you'd be like, "All right, I kind of like these guys."
Yeah.
The whole Bing Bong thing is hilarious, and everyone knows because we beat we beat the Hawks in the first game of the season, and it's our championship, and we're storming the streets yelling Bing Bong. It's hilarious. I just don't like that we're getting a reputation, Mike, of being assholes at sporting events.
Yeah, and it's that we're getting lumped in with probably a smaller percentage of the fans that do this kind of like leave that to the Cleveland Browns fans that throw bottles at people and referees and the trash in Philly. Let the trash be the trash. Don't be the guy that yells at someone's wife. You got to be like the lowest form of like garbage.
Don't be that guy. Don't be the guy who knocks out a small family for a T-shirt shot out of a cannon. Don't be that dad who punches somebody in the face for a foul ball to turn around and give it to your son for a life lesson. Just don't be that dude. All right. Well, that's enough bitching from me, but let's get to our last segment here. We got the Jenkos in the postseason once again, 34th winning season in a row. The New York Yankees are going up against the Boston Red Sox. And, Mike, if I have to admit, if it was anyone that I didn't want to see, it's the Boston Red Sox in a short series. How do you feel about the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees series?
Yeah, I agree with the fact that I would have loved for them to win the division and been able to not host the division rival in this first round. But they're going to win the series. I think that the Yankees are going to outslug. Even if they lose game one against Crochet, I still think they have a great shot to win games 2 and 3. I don't know. I mean, yeah, the short series are really, really scary. At least it's not those one-game series. I think the Yankees and Red Sox had one a few years ago. At least it's not those one-game series where it's do or die. You got another shot. You have 3 legit arms to throw at the Red Sox. And if the Yankees just perform, if they could get Judge to actually hit during the postseason, and a lot of these guys continue, like Grisham, Jazz, who's on the screen, your best friend, or if they could get some of these guys to just start performing in the postseason, they're going to be perfectly fine. They might even win. They might even knock the Red Sox out in 2.
So I wanted the Yankees to continue playing. And I know a lot of people, they think that's crazy because, why not take the bye when you can take the bye? The way that the Yankees roll this year is they're terrible after travel days on the Oregon Trail. Half of their family gets typhoid, and they got to go down the Snake River because they act like they're taking a wagon. It's like, bro, you can lay down in a private jet wherever you're traveling. They travel to Cleveland. It's like they're going to Burma. It's like, man, this team got in late last night. You're playing baseball, first of all. They don't travel well. They don't do well after off days. So I wanted to see the New York Yankees keep rolling. Also, another thing is Big G and Aaron Judge are both hitting right now. They're both red hot. So the last thing I want to do, and especially for a hot team in baseball, the worst thing you can do is have a day off, let alone 5 days off. Now, the 5 days off does help Toronto because they have Max Scherzer, who you guys are still paying for. Sorry for that. I had to throw that in there. Thank you. They have Max Scherzer, and they have an older pitching staff, and the guys are hurt. So the time off is actually going to help them. Last year, the Dodgers and the Yankees both made the World Series with having a first-round bye, but I think it's best if the Yankees just keep this rolling. Mike, if the series was in Boston, I wouldn't feel confident in the least bit. And not to mention, I'm anxiety ridden right now. I am throwing up a facade of confidence and bravado right now. I'm scared, okay? And I don't know what to do. All I can do is think that the Yankees are the best team in the American League, and the only team that can beat the Yankees is the Yankees. Now, I was trying to think about this. How do we match up against the Red Sox? The Red Sox in a 3-game series, better starting pitching. The Yankees have a better bullpen. Yankees have better hitting. But what I think is going to draw the difference between the Red Sox and the New York Yankees, the Red Sox have the most errors in Major League Baseball. So what the Yankees do poorly, which is field the ball, the Red Sox do even worse. Okay? So hopefully the New York Yankees, I will be in the building on Wednesday night. I can go to all the games, but I'm going to be doing the post-game show right here, New York Minute Sports. And also, you can catch me and Mike, Pudgy Boy Sports, on Instagram. Also, NEWYRKMIN on Instagram for my channel. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe right here, New York Minute Sports. Me and Mike doing a general New York sports talk show on Mondays right here. About a half an hour. We're going to go live, folks. And thank you for all the support over on my Yankees post-game show. And me and Mike are going to be breaking down the Knicks coming up. I think we got like 20 days. We got about 29 days until the regular season starts against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Ready to go.
We might have to go to that, Mike.
Because Knick fans are always out there supporting, but this is the year we might have to be in the building.
Like in the building on a regular basis kind of thing.
Yeah, because we gotta be a part of this run that the Knicks are gonna have this year.
Yeah, because I think that this is the best chance since Michael Jordan left the NBA against the Houston Rockets when OJ did what he did. It's going to be the last time that the New York Knicks were in the finals, and I think, knock on wood, I think they can do it again. But guys, thank you very much for the support. We'll check you next time, and remember, if you can't be good,